Welcome back to the Travis Jones Show. Today we are talking about a three-step process to getting your success in any aspect of your life. And this three-step process is talking about your state, the stories, and your strategy that you're actually executing. So the state being your energy management, the stories being the thoughts that are going inside your head, and the strategy being the execution piece, the tasks that you're doing to achieve the outcome you're going after. So when we're looking at strategy, we can break it down. So like, what is it? Well, this is how you do something to achieve the result. If you want to lose weight, the strategy could be a calorie deficit and progressive overload with strength training. It could be waking up at 5 a.m. and getting your training in. It could be a habit implementation. Like that is the strategy you're executing. When we're looking at our stories, well, this is what you tell yourself moment to moment. It's also what you tell yourself before you implement the strategy. If you're about to do some sales calls, you might start telling yourself like the leads are crap, I can't make sales, I suck at sales. Or you might tell yourself like I can't wait to change someone's life. Like these stories you tell yourself become this self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you tell yourself a shitty story, then you're going to half-ass your strategy and you're not going to get the result. And all of a sudden, this loop just keeps repeating itself. So if we find ourselves telling ourselves negative stories, then we need to look at our state and our stories. We need to start to reframe, which we're going to get into later in this video. Then we have our state or our state management, which is energy management. So there are negative states and they push you into negative stories, and there's positive states and they push you into positive stories. So we need to start managing our states as much as we can, because that's what's going to start to manage our thought processes, which is obviously how it manages how we execute the strategies. So you start to create this cascading effect. So your state is dictated by your emotions. You choose your emotions. So essentially you're going to start to choose your energy levels or your state management. We're looking at negative states. So there's like anger and frustration, there's sadness, there's despair, there's annoyance, there's rage. So these are emotions and states that are going to push you into the negative area. And you're going to start to tell negative stories and you're going to half-ass that strategy execution. Then we have positive ones. So there's hope, there's joy, there's gratitude, there's pride, there's inspiration. The more we can choose these states, these emotions, the more it's going to increase our energy, the more it's going to have positive stories going through our brain, those thought processes. You're going to tell yourself you can do this. I have hope. I have gratitude. I'm inspired. Okay. And you're going to execute that strategy completely differently. Now, there's a couple of Viktor Frankl quotes I love that help me with stories. And also choosing the right emotions. And one of them is between stimulus and response lies a space. And in that space lies our freedom and power to choose a response. And our response lies growth and happiness. So with this, there's a space, there's a stimulus, the event external coming towards us. And then in between the response, the emotion we choose and the story we tell ourselves, those aligned together, there's a gap. And if we can expand that gap, we have the power to choose our own way. So there's the other one with our love of Viktor Frankl. It's like everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's own attitude in any given circumstances, which is to choose one's own way. So you have the power to choose your attitude. If someone cuts you off in traffic, you can instead empathize with them, okay? Instead of getting anger and frustration, instead of telling yourself a story, that guy's an arsehole, you can tell yourself a story, that person must be in a rush, maybe their kid's in hospital. You can change your stories, which will start to change your energy because of your emotions you've chosen, and that's going to start to change the way you react and take on the next thing in your day. If someone's arguing with you on a sales phone call, if someone's arguing with you inside the gym, whatever it is, okay, you need to stimulus and response, expand the gap, have the power within yourself to breathe, calm yourself, and choose the best quality emotion. So you have to start identifying triggers that are going to push you into negative states. And now you need to be consciously aware of them. So over the next 7 days, I want you to you can have a notepad or you can have your notes in your iPhone. And when you start to push in those negative emotions, which cause negative states, negative stories, and poor execution of strategy, I want you to start to go, what is triggering me? Maybe it's a person, maybe it's a place, maybe it's an activity. And then you can become consciously aware of them and you can start to expand that gap. So now when you know it happens again, that's the stimulus. I'm going to expand the gap. Before my response, I'm going to choose a better emotion. I'm going to choose a better energy frequency. So now we start to choose these better ones. So then we can also identify triggers that increase you into positive states. Like, what does it for you? What it gives you inspiration, okay? Over the next 7 days, start writing that down. What gives you hope? Over the next 7 days, start writing that down. Who gives you hope and gratitude? Bring them into your life even more. You know, you can start to do gratitude journaling. You need to start having perspective shifts and go, what gives me perspective to give me gratitude in this moment right now? And we can then go into reframing your stories. So most of us, or most shitty stories come from shitty energy. If you're on top of the world and you feel like you can run through a brick wall, you generally don't think you are unstoppable. You believe you can, take on anything at any time. But I want you to start to identify the disempowering thoughts, stories that you need to reframe. So you might have told yourself in the past, I can't lose weight. I can never lose weight. I can't follow a diet. I can never follow a diet. I can't make sales. Okay. I can't run a business. Whatever it is you tell, I can't find a man. I can't find a woman. Whatever it is, these disempowering stories that shift you into poor states and then give you that poor execution of strategy. I want you to think about reframing them. Clearly all these stories will follow with poor execution of the strategy. So I want you to reframe the disempowering story. And this is so crucial. So once you gain perspective, this is step one, gain perspective. Has someone else done what you want to do from your current situation? Do you know anyone out there in the world who has made the sales with leads? Do you know anyone who has found a man? Do you know anyone or woman? Do you know anyone who has built that business to start from where you are and got to where you want to go? Because this right here, bang, okay, let's model success. Someone else has done it. It increases my belief and hope so I can do it as well. 2, ask yourself this. If you had more support, knowledge, or accountability, could you achieve what you wanted? So if you had more support, external, from someone, or skill, or knowledge right now, or accountability, could you do it? And if the answer is yes, well, fantastic. Let's start gaining that support. Let's gain that knowledge, because all of a sudden it's just a hurdle you need to overcome, because now you've pinpointed what's holding you back. And now you're in the power position instead. Then we could also just reframe. This is step 3, reframe. Once you write down your old story. So it's like, I can never lose weight, or I can't lose weight. And then you need to change it into an empowering story. It's like, for example, I can lose weight. I just haven't executed the right strategy consistently yet. So it's like, what? I can lose weight. I just haven't executed the right strategy consistently yet. And if for yourself, like, it's giving you the power back. It's like, it's not saying you can't do something, because Henry Ford said, I think it's like, if you can say you can, or say you can't, you're right. So with this, if you say you can, I just haven't executed the right strategy consistently yet, you put yourself back into control of the situation again. So when we're looking at this, the successful person, it's someone who goes from setback to setback with unwavering hope and belief that they're still going to get the end result. So your story and your state, like, these work in this interlooping situation. Your stories will impact your state, and your state will impact your stories. But I've given you a couple of triggers here for your state management. I gave you a trigger to understand what's going to push me into a negative state. If we're going to understand this, okay, I can take away those triggers. I can expand stimulus and response. I can also have triggers that push me into better energy states. That's like, I've done this now. I also want you to start to map out those disempowering stories. So you're writing down the 5 to 10 disempowering stories you have. Now we're writing and reframing them, or we've gone through that 1, 2, 3 step process. So if we can attack both our state and our story management at the same time, if we do this, it's going to impact our strategy execution on a huge level. So what can you do? I want you to develop grit. The basic principle is practice times effort equals skill. Okay, so I can't make sales. Okay, well, we need to get grit on this. You can make sales. You just haven't, developed a sales system yet, or you haven't created the best script yet. You haven't been consistent enough with your approach yet. So practice times effort equals skill. And then skill times effort equals achievement. So you just need to put this grit formula in place, and you're going to start to get better. You need to become anti-fragile. When someone punches you in the face, you don't get weaker. When someone breaks you, you don't crack into a million pieces. You're anti-fragile. With every mistake, with every setback, you become stronger. Use that as fuel. You take that feedback on board. You get better and better at the task. I want you to harness hope. hoping you have the power within yourself. You have agency. You have multiple pathways to get to your execution, to keep going. You get accountability and proximity. Okay, accountability from someone that you respect and admire. Proximity to those people who are doing what you want to do. And then you model success. You find someone who's done what you want to do and you step in their footsteps and you keep going. And also you have a growth mindset in regards to feedback. Feedback isn't critical in a way that, you know, you're doing something wrong or it's a negative. Feedback is positive. It makes you better. It allows you to see what's holding you back right now, to chip that off and move forward. And this last piece of the puzzle, you need to continue with deliberate practice of this task at hand. Continue to focus on mastery. Continue to move from strategy to strategy with infinite pathways until you get the result you're after. And this is how state, story, and strategy get you success in life.